this project is really going to be fun. Someone tagged me on Facebook and said, Christy, you got to do this one. I've also seen it on Pinterest, and it involves these laundry baskets. So what you do is you put them together and you make a cage, and then you can put whatever you want in the cage, but I'm going to put kids in the cage. I love that old story about Hansel and Gretel, and they go to the witch's house and she has the kids like hanging in cages. Remember that? And then she'd be like, stick out your finger, because she was blind, and she would feel his finger to see if he was plump enough to eat. And he would stick out a chicken bone, and so she'd feel the chicken bone and be like, oh, you're too skinny. Well, anyways, when I was a kid, for some reason that freaked me out. I remember just looking at the book, at that picture, just going, oh my gosh, and the vision in my head with the chicken bone just scared me. And since I was told to maybe make this project, which I happily agreed because it sounds amazing, I really want to just try to copy that the best I can. So the first thing you do is you get your baskets. So these laundry baskets right here I got at the dollar store. Super cheap and $1 each, so I got 4 of them. You got to have one for the bottom and one for the top. And what we're going to do is eventually put them like this and attach them like this. But for right now they look like laundry baskets, so we need to fix that. So I got some spray paint, and we are going to spray paint the inside black, and then after we paint it black we're going to do the outside silver. Now I might want to cut a few of these to make it a little bit more rigid. Sometimes I think if something's so uniform and matching, it just looks, I don't know, just doesn't look right. So I like to mess things up a little bit, have something a little out of place. So anyways, the paint's important. You need to get paint that sticks to plastic. Krylon is a great spray paint. They have some kind of element in here, and I forget what it is. Pete over at the hardware store always tells me what paint to get. He's always a big help. But Pete recommended the Krylon paint because he says it sticks to plastic, and that is what I want. So I have silver for the outside, black for the inside, and then I'm going to touch up some rust with acrylics that I'm just going to mix the paint. So I am going to get to painting. Something else I failed to mention is, what did I fail? Oh, what was it? When you have this together, and we're going to secure it together, you might need a way of getting in your basket, to put in some battery operated lights, a strobe light. So anyways, yeah, so you might want to cut a hole so you can at least get your size hand in there, and I'm going to do that right over here. So now that these have dried and they look pretty good, the next step is probably adding a little rust to it. So I'm just going to grab some acrylics and try to make a rust color and use a sponge and just kind of apply it a little bit over that. But it's turned out good. I like them. They look a little bit more like metal. I like the black contrasting with the silver, the metallic color, and it's going to turn out really good. So I'm going to add a little rust to it, and then after that, once you have them together, you need to measure the inside and figure out how big you want your creature to be on the inside. And I think I'm going to have to make mine from scratch. So that's going to be interesting and fun, but we can do it together. Okay. The next step I'm going to do, I want it to look a little bit more realistic, is I'm going to mix some colors together to match the color of rust. I found this in my garage and it's covered in rust, and so this is what I'm going to try to get my colors to match to. So I just got a whole bunch of little acrylics here, and I'm going to just start matching, and then I just got an old kitchen sponge, and I'm just going to get the color and dab it on and just get it to be looking a little more realistic, like rusted old nasty metal. So I am going to get started with this. I'm adding some coffee grounds to this paint. I just think it's going to make it look a little bit more realistic. I know this might be silly because it's going to be at night, it's going to be dark, the tractor's going to be driving by, no one's going to be up close looking at it. But I might want to use this at my haunted house for Halloween for the trick-or-treaters. So they might be looking at it very closely. And if that's the case, it's got to look realistic. So I didn't like the way the baskets looked with the edges, so I went ahead and I cut them all off. This way, here, it's a little sunnier here. This way it didn't have those handles and the lips on them. So I'm just gonna spray paint them black now. And then when I put them together with the zip ties, they will look like black metal fused together. Maybe I'll paint some fake rivets in it. So there's one of my baskets with some fake legs in it. So I'm going to go ahead and spray paint just the rims of it so it won't show the white part. Alright, so my cages are almost complete. I just need to put a head on this one, and I had his little legs sticking out like that. I thought that was really fun when it's going to be hanging. So I'm just going to put the heads on, and this one's not even on yet, and attach these with zip ties, and then paint some rivets on it, put my wire here with some black chain, and they're ready to go. Put some lights in there, of course, to light them up. I'm zip tying the edges right here, and as I'm going around, I'm pulling it together and zip tying it, and I'll cut off the loose edges. So this one's bulging over here, so I'm going to do this one first, pull it together, and then pull my zip tie and make sure it looks good together like that. I'm going to go all the way around, and then they eventually work together. If there's going to be a bad scene, I want it behind and not in front, so you'll be able to see them. So my kids are almost finished, and what I did are my caged creeps. I just put a rat on the top. I hot glue gun some moss so it covers up the little lights that I put on. As you can see, I wrapped around lights, and then I used the moss to cover it up. I used electrical tape to cover up the stuff in the back. Look at my foam exploded. I'll just paint it red and it'll look like brains. And there's the battery pack to turn on my lights at night. So there she is. Same thing that goes for this one. Glued on some moss to cover the lights from shining up. I want them to shine down. I used electrical tape to clear up some, to cover up some spots. And the last thing I'm going to do is attach the chain to the top. And I like using this black plastic chain, and I already cut it, and I wish I didn't for the video. I like it because you can cut it easily. Metal chain is a little harder for me to cut. I like things that are easy. It's plastic. It's not going to support something super heavy, but it will lift something like this up that's not very heavy at all. And once I get that on, I'll turn on the lights and we'll see how it looks.